Good morning, good morning, good morning. Here you are, Tommy Nichols, with another version of Monday Morning Minutes. I want to talk to you about a real interesting topic is your increased capacity, having capacity for increase. Many times we have everything together. We have our finances together. We have some of us have the thought pattern together, but do we have the capacity for increase? Do we have capacity for increase? So I want to talk to you real quickly about that. And my first thing I want to say to you, are you doing what you were called to do? Are you where God wants you to be? And are you doing what you were called to do? I never forget in Dayton, Ohio, before I moved to Charlotte, I found the windows, I found the air really close, the walls closing in on me. I had to, something was going on. And I said, I'm going to go to either Atlanta or Charlotte. And so I sought God. I said, Lord, where is it I'm supposed to go? I did a visit to Atlanta, to Charlotte. And then I was confirmed that it was Charlotte where I was going. And so it was interesting. When I started coming to Charlotte, it was all faith. It was faith for me to come to Charlotte because I didn't have a job, didn't have a capacity because I didn't know nothing about Charlotte. So I had no location capacity. I just know that I was coming to Charlotte. I have some family in the area, some friends, but I was coming to Charlotte, right? And so I came here by faith. And so the first thing I had to do, number one, to increase capacity, to hear from God, to make sure that you're where you're supposed to be, make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do. And all I knew that God told me was film. Now I'm thinking, okay, film for me. Okay, I'm the next Tyler Perry. I'm the next Spike Lee. That's what I thought film meant to me. Never in a thousand years did I think that I would be doing a film festival, right? But all I knew was Charlotte, and I knew film. So by faith, I came. So number one point in increasing your capacity is one, hearing from God, getting the confirmation that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and that you hear correctly. So those are two, and that you're where you're supposed to be. Sometimes you're doing it, but you're in the wrong location. So make sure that you're hearing from God what you're supposed to do, and that you're in the right place. So the first thing is hear from God. Number two is this: we all have dreams, we have goals. Some of you have books that you talked about that you have not completed. Some of you have films that you've talked about, or you saw a vision of a film but have not moved to the next level to make that happen. Even ministries, God has called you into ministry, yeah, but you have not did anything with the ministry. Businesses, right? You talked about it, you know what I mean? You saw it, you know you can do it, you know you can do a better job than you see other people are doing, right? But you have done nothing. And so here's the number two is this: you must write the plan. Whatever God has given you, what is in your mind to do, in order to increase your capacity, it must be written down. You must write it down. And so write the plan, make it plain that those who read it will run with it. The Bible states that. And I never forget when I came to Charlotte, I knew I was going to do film. And then when I got the revelation of a film festival, in order to increase capacity for others, all I had was a brain dump. I just had to fit what I thought a film festival was on a piece of paper. And I took that paper and I took it to different organizations. I remember the first organization, I called on the phone. I happened to be the Gantt Center. And the lady said, well, who are you and where are you from? And I shared with her, I was all excited. And she said to me, no, we don't want to work with you. Simple as that, right? Another Black organization, but shot it down real quick. And so I didn't give hope, because every time there was a no, there was an increased capacity of my understanding and learning about the environment in which I was in. And so I went to the next person. It was not a no for me, it was a next. And they shared some things with me, but nothing they could do for it. So it was not until I went to, someone said, go see City Councilman Patrick Cannon. So I went to see Patrick Cannon. All I had was a brain dump on paper. All I had was the plan, but the plan was written. I took the written plan to him. He looked through it. And I'm telling you, I had to say nothing. He looked at the plan, picked up the phone, and began to call people. That same day, he called me and invited me to the HTA Hotel Travel Association. CRVA had this major meeting, and I shared the plan, and folks encouraged me. And they didn't look like me, but they encouraged me, said that'd be great. And so that's where the festival really began. That particular day, I said, I know this is now going to become a reality just because of one yes. All the no's didn't matter, but the key thing was I had it written down. It was written down. Amen. And so you must write the plan to make it plain that folks can read it. We'll run with it. And Patrick ran with it because it was written down. That was number two. Number three is execution. Now, once you have the plan in place, sometimes we have these elaborate plans that is outside of our capacity. And we're trying to increase capacity to win. But sometimes we have these major plans, like I need to be in Ballantyne, I need to be in Uptown. I remember moving downtown Dayton one time. We have these increased capacities. We want to increase our capacity, but yet sometimes our plan is too large for our present capacity. We must grow into the plan. And so sometimes we got to start right where we are. So execution might mean this. Execution, if you want to do a restaurant, execution might mean you're serving dinners out of your house. You're delivering dinners. Execution might mean if you have a nonprofit, you're doing those services or whatever nonprofit does in the way that will get you exposure and get you experience. Because once you get that experience, now you're increasing your capacity in other ways, not just financially, but you're still increasing your capacity. So to increase your capacity is very important. After you heard from God, after you wrote the plan, now it's time to execute. You must execute where you are. Execute where you are. Don't wait for no major plan. I never waited for money to begin the Charlotte Black Film Festival. Once I knew this is what I was going to do, I had to execute. And let me tell you this, I had to what I call capacity leveraging. Let me share this with you guys. This is very important and very key. Capacity leveraging is when you don't have the capacity to do this major thing, but you leverage other people's capacity. I was working at Central Piedmont Community College at the time. So no one knew Tommy Nichols. No one never heard of the Charlotte Black Film Festival because it never existed. So how was I going to do this? So I leveraged the CPC. I leveraged their name. Everyone knew about CPCC. I partnered with different departments in the college. We had it at the college. I had my ribbon cutting for the very first festival on the steps of Houghton, right? I leveraged capacity. And then I took another step. I made sure it was during CIAA when we first started. Why? Because I wanted to leverage the name of CIAA, which is a cultural experience, and I wanted to tag along and be another cultural experience. So when we don't have the increased capacity, we need to leverage other people's capacity. Listen, this is one of the most smartest things I've ever done in my life, was leverage the capacity of others by partnering with them, somehow coming up with a win-win situation. And I did that at CPCC. And I'm going to place our initial festival, our ribbon cutting, in this link so you can see it, what capacity looks like when you're leveraging someone else's, right? And so then once we executed this thing, like I said, number one, we hear from God. Number two, we write the plan. Number three, we execute where we are. And number four, as we're executing, we must be able to serve and to give. To increase our capacity, giving and serving should be part of it. I said, Lord, let me maximize my profits, but also let me maximize my ability to help others. So my service to others and my profits go hand in hand. So find a way to serve others while you're executing. I never forget when I was doing my Power Up USA program. And I said, well, Lord, if I can make $500 to $1,000 for this particular week, I'll do my camp and I'm good. Once I made that, I started giving scholarships away. If I see kids walking down the street, I saw 3 kids one time with their grandmother. I said, what they doing this summer? She said, nothing. I said, I would like to give them a scholarship to my camp. We was doing it at Johnson C. Smith. They lived in the apartments over there and they came to the camp. And so as we're executing the plan and our capacity, another way to enlarge our capacity is to serve and to give. So I just wanted to share these 4 quick points with you guys about enlarging our capacity to win. Number 1, hear from God. What should we be doing? And are we in the right place to do it? Number 2, write the plan, make it plain that those who read it will run with it. You must have a plan. Number 3, we must execute right where we are. Don't have this big elaborate plan that you need all this because now we need all this money. Then we start to execute in debt. And I'm saying start to execute right where you are. Begin to execute now, no matter where it is. Begin, leverage other people's capacity. Power Up USA happened at 2 libraries, the West Library, Hickory Grove Library, East Baptist Church, Johnson C. Smith University, UNCC. I went Mosaic Village on the rooftop. I leveraged other people's locations to do what I needed to do because I was executing now, right? And that built history. It built my capacity to understand what I was doing to get better, right? So every time I do something, I'm increasing my capacity in one way or another, right? So listen, I just want to share these quick 4 points with you about increasing your capacity to win. Next week, I'm going to talk about capacity blockers. What are those things that will block you from increasing your capacity? And you need capacity for God to flow things into you, right? To get through you. So you need to increase capacity. So I'm going to talk about capacity blockers next week. But hey, well, appreciate you guys. Thank you for being part of this Monday Morning Minutes. It's time to increase capacity because we need to go and we need to grow together. This is Tommy. God bless.